It's similar to, at least around here, fried chicken at weddings. It's
staple.
Like, tastes great, but it's like after 10 weeks of fried chicken, it's like,
again. Yeah.
But when somebody changes the game up and has like, I don't know, steak, it's like, oh.
That's what people remember.
I'm not even a steak person, but yes.
That's what people remember.
That's what I tell brides too when they ask me, when they're like, oh, do I want to do this? I'm like, think about it. I said, the most things that they're going to remember about your wedding is your dress and your cake.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to be talking about for a while. Like,
sure.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to a wedding podcast with Katie and Stefan. We are back with one of the most epic episodes ever, and we haven't even recorded it yet, and I'm so pumped. What do you think, Stefan?
I'm so excited. This has been one I've been looking forward to, I think, since we started.
Yep.
This is the whole reason we started.
This is it. This is the only reason we started a podcast. We're here. Everyone get excited. But really, I'm literally staring at a beautiful plate of cupcakes right now that I'm like, my mouth is watering from just because I know how delicious they are, and I cannot wait to try them on camera. But we have a cake baker with us today, the fabulous. Actually, I shouldn't call you the fabulous. I should call you the Fantabulous Amanda with Mandy Joe's Fantabulous Cakes. Is that correct? Because I know you just changed your name. She just changed your name. You get it down and you're like, this is what it is. This is the business. But I mean, I, of course, just stalk her because I love everything that she does. So welcome.
Hi, thank you.
She's a little nervous, which we love because, not as everybody is in your face as much as Stefan and I are.
Well,
or me. That's true. I know. You can call me out. Okay. So I'm obsessed with your cakes. I'm obsessed with your cheesecakes. I'm trying to think of what else I've had from you. She makes these delicious apple pie stuffed cookie things at Thanksgiving that are to die for. Everything you make is just magic.
Thank you.
So tell us, I guess, just get started. Tell us about your business. How did this come about?
Well, I'd say around in 2005, my aunt came over with like a 2D Wilton star tip pan. Said, "You're really craftsy. Do you think you could make a cake for me?" And I'm like, I don't know where you're getting craftsy from.
Yeah, but sure, right?
Okay. And I did it, and I had one bag and like 4 tips, and I had to constantly wash them, and it was a nightmare. And then I was like, you know what? This is kind of fun though. So I just started ordering things and getting into it, and
here you are.
I
How long have you had your business?
Well, I would say I really got into it after my 7-year-old was born.
Okay.
So I really got into it after that.
Okay.
I couldn't go back to work.
So I'm going to call it out right now because I'm definitely a victim of this. I'm a Facebook stalker, so everyone knows. And I was looking through your pictures last night because I remember the cakes that we've done together, but it's been a while because I don't do as many weddings and cakes and stuff like I used to. And so I went all the way back to like your first picture on your Facebook page.
Wow.
And you have come so far. Like your first cake was beautiful. I mean, like, let me tell you, I've tried to like cake decorate before because you think you watch like Ace of Cakes and like all these cake shows and you're like, oh, that can't be that hard.
No problem.
And then it's like, oh, it looks like a 1-year-old did it. So I went all the way back. And so I basically stalked you all the way until like present day. And you've come so far and you've expanded what you offer like crazy. So I guess, do you love weddings or do you dread wedding cakes?
No, I love weddings.
You love the weddings.
In the beginning, scared to death.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have some epic fail and it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite is weddings.
Weddings. So tell us about like, what are you seeing in weddings? Because for a while it was like naked cakes with flowers, cakes with burlap, cakes with ribbon. Are you still seeing like a variety of stuff? Or are you
somewhat? The semi-naked is definitely more in. Messy iced with your just the spatula. The messier the better, I think. They definitely get a kick out of the fact that all my flavors and fillings are included. So your outside's going to be buttercream, but your inside is going to be whatever you want. So.
And she has a list of flavors that is like 12 pages long. I'm not even kidding you. My favorite, obviously, is the vegan cake that you do with the cherries, or you can do, I'm sure, any kind of fruit. but I also love your s'mores. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I just can't even like explain to you how delicious it is. It's a weakness for you.
Oh, yeah.
I love cake. I mean, I love wedding cake especially. I feel like it has a different taste to it, but I also feel like it has a different taste when it comes from somebody that actually knows what they're doing. Like, no offense to Walmart or, a grocery store. Cakes from other people are just in a different level. So I feel like it's always worth to look local when you're looking for a cake baker. So what else do you offer other than cakes?
As you mentioned, cheesecakes or cheesecake bites.
Yeah.
So I have so many different flavors of them. And then just like your gourmet cupcakes like we're talking about.
Yeah.
I do all types of platters whenever it comes to Thanksgiving and Christmas. So cookies, cookie bars, anything is just like a go for me, really. If you want it, tell me and I will find a way to make it.
And she's like not lying. So there's been a couple times where I've called Amanda for help. One was, I don't know if you remember this or not, like a couple falls ago, I asked you for meringues for a witch fest thing. Yeah, this lady was like, I want meringues that look like ghosts. And I'm like, well, nobody here can do that. So let's call Amanda. And then again, I needed a vegan cake for a bride and groom one time. And I called Amanda and I was just like, can you do this? And she was like, never done it before, but let's figure it out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're the best. And now it's probably one of my favorite things that you offer. Oh, yeah. And it's completely vegan. And I am definitely not vegan. Like, no offense to them, but that is not how I roll. So, so what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite flavor?
Oh,
that's a hard question for somebody that makes this all the time.
Because I don't eat a lot of my own cake anymore. You're probably
tired of it. Yeah.
I'd say like I brought a strawberry cheesecake one in, and that one's really good. Anything with a filling, it's just like that maple bacon totally surprises you.
Maple bacon
tastes like pancakes and bacon.
Wow.
It really does.
Yeah.
But I would say German chocolate would probably be my favorite.
Really?
I'm a coconut fanatic.
Yeah.
Like anything coconut, I'm going to eat it.
I like that it's a classic flavor. That's your favorite. That just shows probably how good yours are. I don't know if I've ever had your German chocolate. I'll be really honest. I'm sure it's delicious.
I called my mom a couple times for recipes and said, Mom, I need like the carrot cake that I brought today. That's her recipe.
Oh, okay.
And it's really nice because it's really simple. One cup. And
nice.
one teaspoon. So it's really easy to do and it's fantastic.
So you said you don't eat much of your cake anymore, because I have always wondered, like, as somebody who bakes, especially sweet things, whenever I bake anything sweet, it is nearly impossible to not eat like half of it before you're finished.
So I can't have that stuff at my
house.
I
just wondered, like, with a baker, like
well, it's different when it's cake.
Okay.
Like when I'm making my platters and stuff, that's when I have trouble staying away from it.
Her platters are amazing because it's like 10 to 12 like different things, and I am not a cook or a baker. So at Thanksgiving, I'm like, I bring this big platter of Amanda's goodies, and they're like, "Wow!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
And it's so great because you can split them up too. So if you get a full platter and you got 2 events, split it in half, and it just makes it a lot easier.
So you like more of the like cookie kind of like that stuff.
I love doing that stuff. I mean, the gourmet cupcakes, definitely wish I could go further with that.
Sure.
Provide maybe for some of the businesses in town. Yeah. Is what I'm hoping to accomplish. Yeah. And my classes, I do so many classes now too. So
I forgot about the classes. I've never been to one. Every time I see it, I'm like, I gotta do that. And they're full like immediately. She's like a busy lady. So how many cakes do you think you do a year? I think we'll be shocked.
100. I mean, I do hundreds of cakes. I know. I mean,
so I don't know how
hundreds.
Yeah. So for people that don't know your Facebook page, which we'll have them, we'll share all that information later. Amanda will post like full through like October 2nd. And I'm like, dang, she's so busy, which is great. It's great fantastic to have that much business. So that's really good. Stefan, what is your favorite thing about like desserts at weddings? Like, since you're from a photography standpoint, what do you love?
I mean, so I think I kind of like both ends of the spectrum. Like, I like either very simple or very unique. Mm-hmm. And when I say unique, I don't mean like it's like this full blown like.
It's like hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Come on, Amanda, step up your game.
Yeah. But just something that's a little out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, even on the topic of cupcakes, like cupcakes like this these are not the type of cupcakes you see at weddings. And so when you do see something like you see cupcakes, but they're just like simple cupcakes. But when you see something like this, it's just like it has that wow factor.
It does, and I feel like it's a conversation piece for people because they're like, oh my gosh, what are you gonna try? Do you think we're gonna be able to get 2? Is there gonna be enough? Exactly. You go first, and then I'll go get more. You know,
like when I'm doing my consultations, they'll ask me, okay, I think we're gonna have 400 people come.
Yeah,
how many do you need, or how many do you think we need? And I'm like, you need to get exactly what you need or more.
Yeah,
because like you said, when they're coming, they're not expecting to see cupcakes like this. They're thinking, okay, I'm going to get a cupcake that's like vanilla, maybe chocolate. Yeah. What is that?
Yeah.
And then you step in and it looks like this. They're like, oh my gosh. Okay, I want this one, and this one.
Yeah.
And they're at the color. I've been told they ran out in like 30 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
So
well, and I only ate like 25 minutes. No, I'm kidding.
So definitely, if you're not expecting to do something like this, you eat with your eyes first.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I feel like at weddings, people treat themselves more. Like I try not to eat desserts like throughout the week or any other time because I just know that they're not healthy for you and I can't stop. Like I have no willpower. So when I'm at a wedding, it's like my excuse. So I'm like, well, I'm going to have the cookies and cream and the cherry, or I'm going to, so then I'm guilty of being like, oh, I'm gonna have 3. Oh, you didn't get 1? Well, too bad. No.
Right.
Oh yeah, your wedding vendors are definitely treating themselves.
Yes, they definitely are. The wedding vendors are definitely eating
We've been here
dessert.
all day.
Yeah. We may not eat the catering, but we'll eat the dessert for sure. I always say that when I cut wedding cakes, like when you bring in big wedding cakes and stuff, I'm usually always the one that would cut them. And it'd be like 1 piece for me, and then I'd cut like 6. And then I'd be like, oh, well, I probably need another one.
For later.
Because they're so good. Especially Amanda's. They're so good. That s'mores cake, I'm telling you, is just to die for. So are you seeing people do more cakes or more desserts?
More desserts now.
Me too, and I love it.
Yep.
I do too. I mean, I tell them, I'm like, you can still get that 2-tier, 3-tier effect without feeding as many.
Yeah.
And you still get the look, but definitely focus more on the dessert because not only, unless you've hired someone or they're doing it for you, you're taking someone away from having a good time.
Yeah.
And they're up there trying to cut all this cake.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier get something simple that they can go up, they can grab it themselves. And and
I also feel like a lot of, I feel like wedding cake sometimes has a bad name for itself because I think people are used to having such crappy cakes. And I'm not calling out anybody specifically, I mean, I've had some places that I thought, well, that's going to be a terrible cake and it ends up being delicious. But I feel like people are like, wedding cake. Again, like, oh, just the white wedding cake, which white wedding cake is one of my favorite things ever, but it's just,
Well, I think when you get to like those sheet cake ones, even if they taste great. I mean, it's a cake, so kind of hard.
You can't screw up sugar.
but like, I think it's one of, it's similar to, at least around here, fried chicken at weddings. It's
staple.
Like, tastes great, but it's like after 10 weeks of fried chicken, it's like,
again. Yeah.
But when somebody changes the game up and has like, I don't know, steak, it's like, oh,
that's what people remember.
I'm not even a steak person, but yes,
that's what people remember.
That's what I tell brides too when they ask me, when they're like, oh, do I want to do this? I'm like, think about it. I said, the most things that they're going to remember about your wedding is your dress and your cake. That's what they're going to be talking about for a while. Oh my gosh, did you have that? So definitely go all out. You're hoping it's your one time of doing this.
Yeah.
Go all out. I mean, there's something else that can be probably skimped on compared to a dessert or your food.
Yeah.
Definitely be showstopper. It's in your pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, so many pictures of them when they look like that.
Yeah.
You definitely want
when they do look like that, they get a few more pictures.
Yeah, they get a few more from a photographer.
Mainly because I just want to stick around.
Like,
just
smell
Stefan
it. Just wants to he just wants to steal some and eat it. So
maybe my lens accidentally touches one. Like,
I messed that one up. I better take it. Can you tell that we like desserts?
No doubt.
We just like to eat. Well, when we come back, we have just a few more questions for Amanda, but we were going to take a quick break.
And we're back.
So we are talking with Amanda with Mandy Jo's Fantabulous Cakes. I love that name. It's just fun to say, really. So we were talking on the break about just like some fun cakes that, we've done together, you remember. And one of them you were talking about was the edible lace, which I don't think people probably know what that is. So you should explain that a little bit. I mean, it's pretty self-sufficient, but
pretty much.
Yeah.
It looks just like lace, and it's moldable and bendable, and I can wrap it around, and it's edible, and it looks just like you put a piece of lace around it.
It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. So she was reminding me, we did a wedding together at a convention center, and she did like a beautiful cake, and it was like lace, and I think there were even flowers on it, weren't there? Like
there
edible
sugar,
flowers.
sugar roses.
Yeah. And then at the very bottom were like the Ninja Turtle, just like almost little cake balls is what they looked like. Ninja Turtle heads. But it was just like a small little detail that like really meant a lot for the groom, which, you know, the groom kind of gets forgotten sometimes. Like, no offense, Stefan. I know you've been married for like 11 and a half years now, but like the groom gets forgotten. So I think a cake too is a fun way to incorporate the groom, you know?
Yeah.
And you were saying too, you know, people don't necessarily use cut cake anywhere. They'll do like cupcakes, and like I like where you said where like the groom can pick his favorite flavor and the bride can pick hers, because let's be honest, usually the whole cake is whatever the bride wants it to be. I mean, it's just honest.
The groom just isn't involved with that.
He's not. So, it's usually like he picks the beer and maybe like one of the side dishes, and that's all, you know. And he's like, perfect, I'll be there. Like, I'll put my tux on, we're good to go. You know.
I picked the DJ.
You picked the DJ at your wedding.
That was mine.
Nice. I'll be a monster one day. I just already know. I just already know it's not going to be good.
Just sit over there. I got it.
It's all fine. Okay, everyone, calm down. So we were kind of speaking about your flavors earlier, and I mentioned that one of my favorite is your vegan cake, which I can't wait for Stefan to try because I know he's going to love it. And how many have you done vegan-wise? Not a ton? Or?
Not a ton. I have a couple ladies that definitely, whenever they have a little gathering, they definitely have to have them.
Yeah.
But I've only done really that one vegan cake for you, and then I just do the vegan cupcakes whenever they want it. But I just don't think people realize anyone's around here that does it, especially like that with the gluten-free and sugar-free.
Yeah.
So.
And that's, I was going to say, allergies are so crazy these days. I mean, it just seems like more and more people have allergies. I mean, I have a food allergy. It's not severe by any means, but it, you know, people, I don't worry about it, but like there are people that like have serious reactions to things. So I think it's important to know that like you don't have to skimp on the dessert because they're gluten-free.
Exactly.
You know, if you want your whole cake to be, you know, made with gluten, maybe you offer gluten-free cupcakes on the side or something like that. Just to kind of help with that, because I can't imagine having an allergy that severe. I mean, I guess a vegan's not an allergy, but it's a, you know, a choice, or, you know, and that's totally fine that, you know, people feel like that. But it's good that they can have an option.
I think a lot of times when people see vegan, they assume it's going to be something that it's like, we're going to try and taste good or like the thing where we are, but
same
we don't
thing with sugar-free
taste.
kind of sometimes, you know, people are like,
But there can be some really, I didn't go full vegan, but I went mostly vegan.
You did go vegan for like a hot second. I forgot about that.
A month and a half or something. And I mean, there are some really good options out there. I mean, off track a little bit, but the Impossible Burger does not taste like
it's disgusting.
Beef burger.
You know, Starbucks came out with a new breakfast sandwich this week, but it's so funny because it's like made with an Impossible sausage patty or whatever, but it has cheese and egg on it. So I'm like,
no sense.
I'm like, okay, I guess it's for a vegetarian, but some vegetarians don't eat eggs or cheese, you know. I don't know. I thought that was kind of a weird move, Starbucks, but you know, you're keeping up with the time, so go for it. So another thing is, do you offer wedding cake tastings?
I do. And
wow.
Right now I have been doing them free of charge because I just hope to have your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
I try to make sure to plan it around when I know I have another wedding or something. So I know I have a lot of flavors because sometimes it can be a lot.
Yeah. So to make an individual cupcake or whatever of each flavor, I can't even imagine.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. It gets to be a lot.
Yeah.
But I want them to have that choice. You don't show them what the product's going to look like in the end.
Yeah.
I also offer like little pics that say what the flavor is, and it'll be in a group. So if someone does have an allergy, most of the time you can tell by looking at my cupcakes what they are.
Sure.
But if they were looking at it and they don't realize, well, that's, you know, like got peanut butter in it. So, you know, that's a Reese's cupcake. They are going to know it by the pic inside of it.
Yeah, which is perfect. I think that's good to know because peanut allergy, again, is like just a crazy sensitive one.
Yeah.
What are some of like your favorite cakes you've ever done?
I would definitely say that food cake.
Yeah,
that
you're talking about this food cake. Yes.
It was definitely different. Usually, your wedding cakes are so pretty and they're all white, and I'll do sugar flowers, or they'll provide some fake flowers for me. But the food cake was awesome. It was a giant pot of spaghetti on the bottom with a huge meatball. And then it was a double bacon cheeseburger, and it had 4 scoops of ice cream, and the bride and the groom were climbing up the ice cream to the top.
Oh my gosh.
Super fun cake.
We'll have to get a picture of that and share it on our social
That's
media
awesome.
because that's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
And I love really that like that's where you can incorporate some fun into your wedding. It doesn't have to be the traditional white wedding cake like you said with the edible lace and the sugar flowers. It can be
whatever you want. They love food.
Yes.
So that's what I did.
Yeah,
I did food.
whatever your interest is, it could be something so fun. So I love that.
I do wonder if with everything that's gone down with virus stuff and wedding rescheduling and everything, if we'll see more weddings maybe go a little more personal because, maybe they're going to be smaller moving forward and smaller weddings. More in the budget.
Yes.
Can have a little more fun.
You can do cheesecakes, cupcakes, a full cake, and cookie bars.
All of them. And I tell them, I'm like, do what you think you're going to love. Like if you're doing something more in the fall, go with something like that. Get some pumpkin crumble bars.
Yeah.
Get some, get something, apple pie style.
Yeah.
Like, do something like that. Make it different. You don't have to do just cake.
No.
It doesn't have to be just cake.
No.
Do a little dessert table.
Yeah. And I'm even I would say I'm pretty traditional when it comes to wedding stuff, but I am not when it comes to cake. Give all the desserts.
Forget tradition.
Buy them all the desserts. So this is a rough one, but I coming from a planning perspective, and I know Stefan's had some too. Have you had any disasters, like wedding cake?
Oh yeah.
Disaster.
Other than a couple air bubbles that look like tumors growing out of the
that's fine.
No. Which I had planned and brought stuff to fix in case.
Yeah.
I'd say the scariest one though was I had 3 weddings to do that day, and I typically never ever stack a cake before I get there. But it was just in Effingham, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna be easy. No, I had no idea. It was up on the steepest hill I've ever been on.
No.
And I'm holding this box and the cake is swaying. And I'm like, Lord, help me now, please. Yeah. Don't let anything happen to this. And I I dialed it really, really well and everything. And it was perfect. And I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
But then I forgot the topper and had to go all the way back home and come back. And I was like,
oh, no.
But it was okay. But it was awesome. And I was praising Jesus the whole way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It did not collapse.
Yeah. That's always the moment that I hate with weddings, because I'm usually the one that brings the cake back to the kitchen to get it cut or whatever, carrying it from the cake table to the back. I'm just always like, please, dear Jesus, please. I've only had a couple times where it's kind of fallen on me. Whereas if I get icing on me, and of course we, just scrape that part off or whatever, it's fine. And it's after it's been cut and photographed and all that. But you just have to say a prayer and just be like, please, please.
It's so nerve wracking.
Yeah.
That's the only nerve wracking part is to do that. Or one time, no one was there to let me in, and it's 95 degrees outside here in Altamont, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sitting here. Where is everybody?
Yeah.
And finally, somebody showed up to let me in. I'm like, oh, good God.
Because temperature and weather and stuff is a lot for cakes. You can't really bring a cake in when it's torrential downpouring if you can't find a box big enough for it, or
it's scary.
Yeah,
it's scary.
That's one of my favorite parts of those shows you see on Food Network and TLC and all that stuff of wedding cake stuff. The part of when they have to get it there, I'm just always on the edge of my seat. How do they do this? My stress level would be through the roof.
Yeah, I remember a handful of years ago when Cake Boss was all the craze. And it would show them taking in these just ginormous cakes, and it's just no, why would anybody choose that line of work?
Stop it.
I mean, I guess you did.
Refrigerated vehicles. I mean, it is scary. Yeah, it is scary.
Do you just throw the AC on max and go for it? I mean,
my AC broke.
Oh no!
It was two summers ago, and I had to go to the convention center.
Yeah,
and I go out and I start my car. I'm like,
oh no,
my gosh! And I had no backup. I'm like, last minute, you're going. I'm like, thank God it was right in Effingham, and I knew them.
Sure.
So I was like, But everything was perfect. So I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you haven't had anything too bad, which is good. I have only ever had one time where I've planned a wedding or actually two, and the wedding cake was dropped. But they were both very small. Like one was actually at my brother's wedding. Oh. And I mean, the cake baker was like, I mean, just profusely was like, I am just so sorry. And I'm like, you know what? I was like, it's fine. We're like, of all people for it to happen to, I'm like, we're very chill. I said, find something and bring it over. I said, I don't care what flavor it is. I don't care what it looks like. Put some flowers on it and it'll be great. And she was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, it's fine. And the one bride that it happened to, I don't think she even knew. I mean, I never told her. I never, whatever. They brought a different cake. Thank God they had extra and she didn't have one idea.
Interesting.
So. Yeah.
I think that shows maybe the benefit of hiring a professional.
Of course.
Somebody who plans for these unexpected things. Because when something wrong happens, but you have no idea something wrong happened on your wedding day, that probably means you have some good wedding members.
And there's been a lot of times that you just don't tell brides things. They don't need to know. They don't need to know. Like, in your instance, they don't need to know that their cake is melting through but you're going to make it beautiful. And
my gosh.
Know. Like, we deal with that for a living. So
and that's a message maybe to the moms of the brides. Like when a vendor because they're letting you know. Yeah. There's a reason they're going to you, not the bride. Yeah. You don't need to go
tell her.
Take that message to the bride. Yes. Oh my gosh, everything's burning down.
Yeah, it's fine. Like it's going to be good. It's going to be
good. The construction crews out there.
That's right. Which, speaking of disasters, we have to continue to talk about this because it continues to just bash the wedding industry like crazy. And that's the dreaded and horrible, crappy COVID-19. Yes. So I'm sure your phone has been ringing off the hook with reschedules.
Oh, yes.
And then they probably called again and rescheduled again.
There's been a couple.
Yeah. And that's probably just the best way you're dealing with it is just rescheduling and going from there.
Pretty much. And they're just so thankful. I'm like, it's not a problem. I will make whatever work for you. This is your day. So.
And that makes you a good vendor because we've been kind of talking about that, as long as both parties are kind and are very understanding, then it seems to be that's the perfect mix to make things right.
Well, it's completely out of our hands. I mean, everybody's, it's not anyone's fault that this is happening. And and if I have to do 6 weddings on one day, I'm going to do it. I mean, I want everybody.
We'll bring you extra coffee that day and we'll be rooting for you from our couches.
That's where I kind of envy those wedding vendors that it would be tough to do multiple weddings, but you have that option to do that where like I do not.
Yeah, you have one. You just can do the one. Yeah.
It would be nice.
For sure. So what's just some tips that you can share with brides going forward, obviously in terms of booking cakes or booking desserts or anything in general?
The earlier you start, the better. So even though I can do multiple weddings, it just depends on how far you're wanting to go. Because if you're having 500 guests, I only have so much space.
Sure.
So definitely get on that and don't be afraid to go all out. Like we were talking before, you get this hopefully one time that you're doing this and make it special, make your mark and let your guests know, you're willing to go out for them as much as you want them to come to your special event.
Yeah.
So make sure you get enough too. Yes. Don't be afraid to get the amount you need.
Yeah, because you said they freeze.
They freeze wonderfully. Yeah. You wrap them up and put them in your freezer, and then you have something for another event.
Absolutely. And it's one, you've paid for it already, so might as well multiple use it if you've got a ton of stuff. Is there any tips and tricks you can give for freezing? Like what's the best?
Always just get some sort of a bakery style box, which you can get them at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, and wrap them in saran wrap. Real good in saran wrap. And that's going to keep any other food flavors, like if you've got meat or veggies or peppers or something in your freezer, that's going to help keep that out.
Okay.
And always just get them out, put them in your refrigerator, or just set them out for about an hour and good to go.
Good. Wow. That's a good tip because, I feel like that's overwhelming. It's like, what do? You don't want them to taste like onions or whatever.
And most of the time, like I said, whenever you think that you've ordered too much, most of the time I'll always message and say, how did it go?
Yeah.
And they were like, we had like 7 cupcakes left. That's all we had.
Yeah.
I was like, I told you, like, get what you need. Cause like I said, people eat with their eyes first. So
They do. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I hope it wasn't too horrible.
No, this was really fun.
So I'm going to have you share kind of where people can find you if they're interested in booking you for their wedding or learning more about your business. And then we'll do some tasting after that. Okay. So share with them. And the best way to get a hold of you, because I think you like Facebook message.
I do.
Right? Yeah.
I have my own page, Mandy Jo's Fantabulous Cakes. You can find me on there. Just message me directly. I do have a phone number, and you can call if you'd really like to talk. And you can even schedule to come and sit down with me. And it doesn't matter if it's just a wedding, if you have another, like an anniversary, anything like that, you are more than welcome to come and sit down and we can discuss it in person.
She's done some pretty fabulous. We talked about, you've done about 5,000 frozen cakes, I think. That's like, even my nephew, I mean, like, you think that's a girl thing. My nephew is obsessed with frozen. I mean, I feel like that's just like, Olaf is like the new Mickey Mouse almost.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, I've seen you do anniversary cakes, retirement cakes, all kinds, bachelorette parties. I've seen all kinds of stuff. So it's not just weddings. So if people need desserts for anything and everything, you're the lady.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks so much for being with us today. If this is your first time listening to a wedding podcast, we are Katie and Steph, a wedding podcast. We talk about all things wedding. You can find us anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast. Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio,
Apple Podcasts,
all the great things. And then you can find us on Instagram and Facebook under A Wedding Podcast.
The end.
Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.